24% profit on one simple, fast stock market trade. We're going to be talking about stock market investing today in the studio, Beyond the Hustle podcast. And I am joined by one of my master investors, Avril, who I've been working with for some time now, showing her, mentoring her on how to become a stock market investor. Welcome to the studio, Avril.
Thank you, Liam, for inviting me.
It's incredible to have you here. And oh my goodness, these last few months have been life-changing for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've really got some incredible results within the stock market following the strategies. Before we get into the detail and actually talk about the strategy and the results, could you give us an indication as to where you were before you made this decision to become a stock market investor?
Right. So the journey really began recently. End of last year, my husband got really sick and was hospitalized. And he was the main breadwinner. I mostly looked after the children. I worked as a music teacher after having given up my specialist nursing job, again, to look after my children, because my children, two of whom have learning difficulties. And so when my husband got sick again in hospital, we know that there was a real danger of him losing his job. And I thought to myself, we have no backup. There's really no backup in terms of household income and earnings. So that's where I stepped into AFL.
That must have created quite a lot of pressure within the relationships, within the family household.
Absolutely.
You know, what was going on?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a case of how are we going to survive? What savings do we have? How are we going to make that work? What can I do to contribute? And how can I contribute and still look after the children? And it wasn't just looking after the children. I knew I possibly would be his carer after the event. And I already had to cut down my teaching. I knew I had to cut down my teaching. I had to cut down my teaching while he was in hospital. And the way it works as a music teacher is you don't teach, you don't earn. Right. So there was virtually...
So the income went down in the household.
The income went down in the household.
Pressure went up.
The stress. And, David was so desperate to keep his job. So he continued working from the hospital bed, working from even when he was recovering, he was in bed. He couldn't get out of bed. He was trying to keep his job then. And in my mind, I felt a little bit guilty. I felt like I'm not contributing financially to the household, and him being in his state, having to work. So I decided I needed to take control of our finances as a family and look for income in which we can generate, even though I can't go out there to work because I have to be home. And
so it's almost like you needed something flexible, something you could do on a laptop, internet, anywhere, at any time.
Absolutely.
Wow, so this is like a perfect match, actually.
Absolutely.
So how did you then come about? So you knew you need to do something. How did it then come about, this whole stock market relationship that we have together?
Yeah, so I was enrolled in your Property Millionaires Academy already, and that needed me to go out, interestingly enough, as well, to go out and network and view properties. And in that time, I think the first 3 months, there came an opportunity to attend your boot camp. And so you can do it for free. I'm like, okay. And I've always been interested in the stock market. When I was much younger, in my 20s, early 20s, when I came back from university, I had a bit of savings. And my dad just got into stock market trading at that point. And he was trading in individual companies.
Okay.
Okay. And he said, give me your money. I'll invest it for you. You'll see great returns. I gave him my money, all of it. And he lost it. And it went to near zero. The company tanked within 2 years.
Wow.
And so I went to near zero. I didn't know, I can't even tell you what company it was because I had no control over that. I just gave it to my dad, trusted him fully, and he was kind of my fund manager.
Okay.
And so when I got married, we decided I need to take control of that. And I went to a stock market investing training course, but it was just a training course. There was no mentorship, there was no follow-up. It was very technical. So I knew things like PE ratios, Fibonacci sequences and stuff like that. But I didn't get into the stock market because I had this huge fear, and that fear was going down to zero.
Okay.
You know,
So that was playing on your mind.
That was playing on my mind. That was 20 years ago.
20 years before.
20 years before.
Yeah.
And despite me having done the training, me understanding, there's this huge upside and the need to be investors, we just never took the step forward. We were terrified. I was terrified. So it was a massive block for me. Yeah. But when I attended your boot camp, it was a 3-day boot camp. It completely blown me away because it was strategies that had rules that you could not break. If you broke them, you were in trouble. So you don't break the rules. And I like that. I like the procedures. I like the fact that there was rules, and it was rules that were tested for many years. I mean, Jeremy's tested these rules for 20 years.
He's been doing them. Yeah, my mentor, yeah.
Yeah, your mentor. And I was absolutely blown away at how simple it was, how easy it was to understand when you explained it.
And what's one of the rules that we follow, which was one of your biggest fears for over 20 years?
Don't invest in a company.
Okay.
That's for one.
So what do we not?
Individual company.
So what do we not teach? Yeah, how to invest into individual companies.
Absolutely. That's the first rule, actually.
We're not talking about becoming a stock picker or a day trader or sitting up on 8 screens for 12 hours a day, waiting for GDP figures or announcements to come out or interest rates or company PE ratios. None of those things.
Absolutely.
So if we don't do any of those things, what do we do?
So we pick asset-backed funds. So that's basically what we do. Something that owns physical assets. I don't know if I can say this. I probably can. Things like the S&P 500, NASDAQ. Okay. Because those funds, they always take the best companies.
Yeah.
And if the companies are not performing, they replace them. So you never have that risk of going down to zero. And I knew this to some extent previously, but I always thought the returns can't be very good. And then you showed us the returns definitely beat the bank. And there's so many other strategies.
Well, the NASDAQ has done, nearly 600% in just the last 10 years.
Absolutely.
That's 60% return. Now, we're not saying it's going to continuously do that, but when you do your back testing, and if the only thing someone ever does is invest into the NASDAQ 100 or the S&P 500, and I'm not giving financial advice, but if someone chose to do that continuously for the rest of their life, they could probably be in a position at some point where they're financially independent. And even the S&P 500, which is the top 500 US companies in the index, that pretty much outperforms every type of fund manager on the planet.
Absolutely.
So that's great. So you started to understand that we were only going to look at asset-backed funds.
Yeah.
You said earlier there were some rules in place and systems we put in place. So those 3 days, just summarize those initial 3 days. What was like a game changer for you, and what then gave you the encouragement to say, this is definitely for me and my family?
Yes. So I think the biggest thing for me is that you really highlighted the fact that you can be your own fund manager. Okay. I don't think you can underestimate the control that brings, and eliminating the unknown, eliminating the fear of what the market's doing, the emotional, I guess, wrangling every single time when you're listening to the news. You can put aside pretty much all of that and just focus on the strategy, focus on the rules, focus on what you did in the back test and understanding the stock, and that you've invested in. And just really being your own boss. I mean, I can't stress how important that is.
It's almost like you sound quite excited about that when you started. It was like, hey, I've stumbled on something here that could actually really work for us.
Absolutely.
Wow,
absolutely. And the best thing is that you didn't need huge amounts of money as well. You didn't need to go out there and find investors. You're becoming your own investor and you're investing in stocks that you believe in. And you fully own those shares when you buy them. So it's really, really important that you have that full control. And I think that was what was missing.
Yeah, you're right, because, I've been involved with things in the past that haven't worked out. I've given money to fund managers and lost £400,000.
Yeah, I know.
My family members have done the same. I've tried to, get involved with individual stocks and meme coins and altcoins and, try and jump on the back end of something. And I've always done that in the past and not fully understood it. And guess what? I wasn't following any rules. Emotion came in, and pretty much in the past, I lost every single penny. But like you, like me, I got myself a great mentor. My mentor taught me these strategies. I'm now able to teach these strategies to you and all my other incredible, stock market investor, high level clients. You decided at the 3 days that you were going to join the academy.
Yes, I did.
And you came in at master level, which is our top level, of course, and you'd invested another, £20,000 or so into
That's
that.
right.
Why did you make a decision to do that?
Because I really knew that what you'd give was value. I mean, I've been part of Assets for Life for about the 6 months before that, and I knew you give value. But also, you said you've given really good examples of what we were going to learn. And I was just hungry for more. I became a little bit obsessed, I'm not going to lie. A little bit obsessed with the whole idea of it. But I wanted to go in at master level because I wanted the choices.
Yeah.
I was curious as well as what other things. I don't think I would have been satisfied learning 4 strategies and going, oh no, what's everybody else learning? I need to go in and find out what everybody else is learning. And I knew some of the leveraged strategies were in the higher level. And I guess in a way, it's about return as well, and not just the stability but also the returns. And I knew you get better returns with the leveraged strategies, which tend to be at the pro and the master
basically,
level.
you wanted to go all in.
Yeah, I wanted to go all in.
And have access to all the strategies.
Absolutely. And I was also wanting to be an expert in that.
Yeah.
You can't be an expert knowing a bit of it. I want to know
You use the word obsessed.
Yes.
Why do you think you became obsessed about this?
Well, I always see obsession linked to passion.
Okay.
I mean, I've recently trained as a data scientist, so I love numbers. But I must stress, isn't even if you don't do numbers and don't do data, this is perfect for you, and I can't stress how simple this is. But one of the things I was really, I guess, obsessed and passionate about was compounding my own wealth and compounding our family's wealth. And I think my son actually is quite responsible for that obsession, because he became obsessed. My son is 12 years old and he has autism, but he started watching videos and he said to Mom, why are you putting my money in savings? I was like, what do you mean? Goodness. I said, what do you mean? And it was just a couple of months before I attended your boot camp, and he's like, why have you not put my money in Bitcoin, Mom? Or why have you not put my money in bonds? I was thinking, what are you talking about? So I became, I needed to learn this, not just for myself. I just needed to learn for everybody else.
You became, obviously, with the unfortunate situation for David, your husband, you became like the driving force.
Yes.
You took on that responsibility, and you're a strong, powerful woman. And it was like, I'm not going to allow us to go to zero.
Absolutely.
And you found it within yourself to do whatever it took. Absolutely.
And in the past, when, this is not the first time there's been illness in the family or with David. And 10 years ago, that was when it all began. And at that point, what we did was that we remortgaged, took the savings out and spent it. And I knew that was, you can't keep doing that. We need to make the money work harder for us, and we can't just keep spending it to zero. So that was quite a sure way to zero. I mean, without even investing, just spending savings went to zero. And that was not a strategy. That was not a plan. That was definitely not a long-term plan. And so, and another thing that, putting my husband's disability aside, having 2 children with learning difficulties, you worry about their future and you worry about the jobs market. You don't know whether they're going to get a job, whether they're going to get a fair chance of having jobs and things like that. So I'm really stressing on how they can control their own financial future as well. And the beauty about this academy, it isn't just about stock market investing. It's about financial intelligence, wealth intelligence, and learning to deal with debt, learning to deal with your assets, you know, the money you get, not just personally, but in your business, and how do you compound that, and how do you manage that? Because it's easy to earn the money, it's easier to lose the money. So, you know, Jeremy and yourself, you don't just give us advice and training on investing. You also give us advice on how do we manage our wealth, how to build our wealth, and to secure our futures, especially with our children. And you know, and it was a revelation when you say you started teaching your daughters.
Yeah, my kids are doing this now. They've got their trading accounts.
See, that's how simple it is.
It's the whole family are on board with it, which is
Absolutely.
just
It's just so it's accessible. It's so accessible, and I think that's the difference. You know, making learning and doing accessible, and of course doing is important as well.
Brilliant. So you've been on the academy, not actually that long now, maybe.
No, since May.
Since May. So where are we now? November, June, July,
so about 6
August,
months.
September. Okay, so about 6 months. And let's talk about the results. So you joined in May, you got into the portal, you was obsessed with all the videos, you're like, you know, getting through the videos faster than you should be, wanting more of them, knocking on our door, but we drip feed you.
You do drip
to keep
feed
everyone
us,
safe.
and that's fair.
And we drip feed you with the strategies. Talk us through some of those initial results that you got, you know, up and running.
Yeah, so I started with what we call the long-term investment strategies.
Okay.
So one
like
of them, index protected investing.
Yeah.
That was an easy one to learn. So I love how it's sort of built in complexity, like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't go straight into something complex. It's something really simple to understand. Yeah. And so that was easy to get into that trade once there were signals for it. And I went in after paper trading, after back testing, and after looking at all the videos. So there's you know, the standard is you look at the videos, you study the videos, you back test, and then you can paper trade at the same time, and making sure you know how to use the platforms, etc. And then I went very quickly into live trading within a month, actually. That was how simple that first strategy was. I didn't want my money continue sitting in a cash ISA anymore. I was like, nope, I'm getting into investing my ISAs. And transferred quickly to a stock and shares ISA, and then that continued to roll. So that really, really quickly, that's still in there. And we've got a stop in case anything happens, and that's just compounding. So
you were making money within 30 days.
Yeah, we were making money within 30 days with just that strategy. Of course, I haven't cashed out, just letting it grow, and it's already beat the bank. It's been more than 10% each fund that we've invested in.
Brilliant.
So, you know, already beat the banks in less than 6 months.
Yeah, great.
Then we went on to the monthly income. And obviously I was really excited just making the first monthly income. It wasn't huge amounts. It was about 1.5% in that month.
Yeah.
So if you think about, you might make only 2%, 3% the bank for the whole year. I managed 1.5 and I thought, this is amazing.
Well, if you do that every month, you're up at 18% for the year.
Exactly.
There's not much you can do out there and get 18% a year.
Absolutely.
So that's a really solid return on that one trade for that 1 month.
And that one trade was, you know, pretty much risk-free. I couldn't think of a real risk within that trade. It was genuinely a monthly income builder. You know, and I loved that very much. And then I went on to our more, you know, another monthly strategy, which is your quick channel profits, which is not a leverage strategy, just a straight, when you can use your ISA for that as well. And that was another revelation. That one I used to invest in gold, a gold fund. Yeah. I was too late to step into the silver. I think I missed the signal. So I thought, I'll go into gold. And that made me, within that month, over 6%. And actually, that
6% in 1 month.
In that 1 month, well, that was 18 days. That wasn't even a month, and that replaced my income that month just on that one.
Just that one simple trade.
Just that one simple trade.
Fantastic.
You know, and then then I started going on to the more leveraged strategies, and it was even exciting. So the one that was originally the 1.5%, it was 2.8%. I was thinking, what in the world has just happened there? Pretty much the same strategy, just slightly different placing. And I loved how it built. We use kind of similar techniques, so we're not having to relearn. We're just building on the previous technique, on the previous strategy, and then suddenly you've boosted your income for that month. I mean, I was gobsmacked, and became more excited. I think, passion builds. People think that you become passionate about something to start with and then you learn, but actually your passion builds when you start getting good at something and you're confident in something. And I say that as a music teacher as well. They're not really passionate about it. No, you become passionate about something when you become a bit more of an expert in something. So don't, like you always say to me, don't go and don't leave and don't stop until the miracle happens. Yeah. And sometimes that miracle happens really quick.
Well, it must have been a game changer, realizing that in one trade you'd replaced your normal monthly income.
That absolutely.
And if that's not going to make you more hungry and want to be doing this, I don't know what else will be. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you're in a trade right now, aren't you?
I am in a trade right now.
So you're now on the leveraged version of a strategy.
Yes.
That's also a gold trade as well, and we know gold's been doing really well. Yeah. Talk us through that.
Yeah, so that is a quick channel profits I mentioned earlier. So now it's the leveraged version of that, and where you use options to do that. I'm not going to give too much detail. I don't want everybody to go out there and start investing in options. Don't do this at home on your own. You need to have the whole strategy and all that back test and everything. But so that one, I've gone into the US funds.
Yeah.
Not used my ISA, but US funds. And that's made me so far 24% already. And I've only been in the trade since last week, so maybe a few days.
Great.
What the end of it will be, I don't know, because we were waiting for the sell signal. But it was again another revelation. I just can't believe it.
Fantastic.
I just can't believe it. And there's more to come. I'm only on my 9th out of 14th strategy. I'm only studying my 9th. I'm active in six of these strategies.
Yeah. And when you say active, are some of those paper trading and real money, or are you real money on all of those at the moment?
So those are real
money. Great.
Yeah, real money.
Good.
In those.
There we go. So you're building and what I teach you is to build a diverse stock market asset-backed portfolio of different strategies and different asset classes and that you're happy with.
Different pots.
Yeah,
I love the whole pot idea. I absolutely love the whole pot idea. One pot for, whether it's a holiday or a pot for a new home, which we are looking to get. So because of David's disabilities, we're trying to get something that's a bit more accessible for us. So we're building different pots and that's really, really key in terms of financial management, and that's been brilliant as well. Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds incredible. What impact has this had on you, your mental health, your personal belief, the relationship with David, the children? If you could summarize the last 6 months mastering this skill set and becoming a stock market investor, how has this really had an impact?
Well, for one, I've definitely regained my own self-worth. It's not just about, now I'm not just thinking I'm not contributing, I'm not helping, I'm not feeling the guilt of not supporting financially. And so that's really taken that away completely. It's also given us a lot more security. People think they're in a job and that's secure. We know firsthand that's absolutely untrue, and I don't know how to express it. It's just been an incredible change for me as a person, but the confidence, to the point where I'm really want to help other people do the same. Yeah. I have a TikTok community that I'm trying to build, about 1,000 people currently in that community, and most of the people in there are women who are carers, very much like me. It's like attracts like, and the algorithm kind of sends me that way, with either carers for their husbands, or a lot of them are single moms caring for their children, and they can't also they have the same pain points.
We need to get them into this world,
Yeah,
don't we?
exactly. And they are, they're so driven and motivated to also, they're very much like me, trying to find a way to create wealth for their families, legacy for their family, security. I think security cannot be underestimated, because that really changes your children's life chances. And that's really, we are really passionate about that. And so for us filling our pots so we can help other people, I think we've listened to Steve Bartlett I was hoping he would be one of our guests at some point. And he was saying, you need to fill your own buckets before you can fill other people's buckets. And that's such an important thing for us. And I think we understand where people come from. I mean, I've worked with people from all walks of life as a nurse, as a teacher, and so being able to help other people achieve financial independence.
It sounds like in just a few months, you're now on a completely different path.
Yeah.
You've got a new outlook to life.
Yes.
You're not feeling as stressed about your financial future because you now have the money boxes, £1 in, £3 out.
Absolutely.
Some will do more, some will do less. And you've now got the strategy that you can do anywhere in the world on a laptop mobile device with an internet connection, and you can start to make money while you sleep. It's been absolutely incredible. I love working with you. You are a real asset for life. What would you like to say to anyone tuning in that is looking to take control of their finances and never have to worry about money ever again, but maybe they've got some blocks, barriers and challenges like you? What would you like to say?
Well, for the first and foremost, make that decision to take control. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and cannot do. Don't let your past dictate your future. Make that decision to take full control and get mentorship. I think that's really, really important. If you're frightened, especially if you've got fears and you've got anxieties, get the mentorship from people who are already successful at the thing that you're looking to do to build wealth. For me, I have been really fortunate that AFL has come up this course, and this is one of the avenues to go down, and I highly recommend it. But taking that step, taking the action. So it's no good just investing in a course and not doing it. Make that commitment. Be a bit obsessed at building your own future and building the security and the legacy you deserve.
Wow, brilliant. Well, look, a massive, massive congratulations.
Thank you, Liam.
We're going to get you back in at some point in the future and do a follow-up. So there we have it. Making money while she sleeps, building a future for her beautiful family, taking control of her finances. Absolutely incredible. If Avril can do it, you can do it too. And we'll see you on the next episode.